Let's see. Okay. Hello. Aman's from Florida. Fantastic. So type in the comments if Michael, you're here, and others. Sue, hello, hello. Type in the comments where you're coming in from and what kind of business you're in. This is a live masterclass. So let us convene here in the metaverse. See, I believe the metaverse isn't something that Mark Zuckerberg owns. I think the metaverse is a space, a collaborative space that we could work in, that we could collaborate in. And that's not something that Zuckerberg owns, for sure not. At least I don't think so. Hello, Michael, Atlanta, Senior Living. Fantastic. Welcome, welcome. Well, we're going to get started in just a minute. Wait for a few other folks to join. It's about 5 after. 5-part sales and marketing shifts innovative CEOs make to conquer their category and double their sales. So fantastic. We're going to jump right into this in a minute. So as we're getting started, just so you know, this is going to be the best masterclass you have ever attended in your life. That's my promise. If it isn't, then drinks on me in New York City next time you're here. So let's begin. Type in the comments what business you're in, and so other folks can know as well. And if you know who your ideal customer is, type that in the comments below so that we could see who your ideal customer is. I think it's probably the most important thing in your business, in your sales and marketing, to know who it is that you are serving. Don't you think? Doesn't that ring true? That's the most important thing. So type in the comments, who is your ideal customer? Because this is a poll I put on LinkedIn. A great product does not sell itself, because the best product doesn't win. What does win if it's not the best product? Type in the comments if you know what does win. All right, so let's get started. The 5-part sales and marketing formula innovative CEOs use to conquer the category and double their sales. I am really excited to share this with you because the stakes are high. I meet so many CEOs that are so excited and so obsessed about their solution. And that's great, because what their solution is it's a breakthrough, it's revolutionary, and they're changing the world, and it's exciting. But the stakes are high if they don't actually win, because the stakes are high. They often are spending a lot of money on marketing and wasting money. They're losing perfect deals because sometimes customers don't understand the value. They're repelling ideal customers with their marketing. This is happening. Opportunities languish in their CRM. Their team is misaligned. Perhaps people saying different things. It happens. I have noticed, and perhaps you have, it's no secret, VC funding is drying up, and that's a big deal. So the stakes are very high, because all this could result in business failure. So I appreciate you being here. There's going to be a special offer to anyone who's watching this webinar with that link at the bottom, getsalesenabled.youcanbook.me. So stay tuned for folks if you come and stay to the end. This is a meme that I created that didn't catch on at all. But what I like about it is it speaks to the problem with most marketing. If you hire a marketer, most marketers are going to market the hell out of your product. And what that means to most marketers is loud, in-your-face promotion that costs a lot, but sadly, in the world that has changed, does not work. And we're going to talk about why that is. So who is this for? This is a CEO masterclass for folks, CEOs that are selling an innovation. Perhaps they're between 5 and 100 million in their revenue, but seem to be stuck with their marketing, perhaps with their sales as well. If this is for folks who want to attract their ideal customers, grow their revenue, CEOs that want to align their team, they got team members that they rely on, but are doing different things and saying different things. CEOs that really want to dominate their category and are able to invest the time and money and energy in sales enablement. And we're going to be talking about why sales enablement is the new marketing in this webinar. So glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. I'm just looking here at the chat. If you can see me and hear me, just say, I got you in the chat so I know that you're here. Aman says, freshers from college are my supply side and B2B are my demand customers. Fantastic. So here's my promise to you in this webinar that in the next 45 minutes, We're going to talk about how to simplify your sales message without losing what makes your solution so unique and so special. We're going to talk about how to facilitate unforgettable sales conversations, sales presentations without spending a ton of hours and a ton of money on leave behind slides that nobody reads. We're going to be talking about how to stand out in a noisy market. And even if your customers don't even know that they need your solution, and if that's the case, it's a very noisy market. How to get your prospects to own your proposal. Imagine that, to get them to own what you're selling. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what they're going to own. But to do that without having to hire a $350K chief marketing officer or a CRO necessarily, you can get that done. And the last piece, my promise to you, is how to attract ideal customers without wasting a ton of money on marketing. Really, to create a magnetic messaging framework is what we're going to be talking about. So that's my promise to you. It's a lot in the next 45 minutes. So let's just make sure that this sounds like you. Does it sound like you? If it doesn't, feel free to drop off. Does it sound like you that you have read some of the best or all the best books on marketing from Seth Godin or Donald Miller, StoryBrand, or Keenan Gap Selling, fantastic sales book. But you fail to, if you look at your website, you fail to actually implement exactly what that means for your solution, your business. So you look at your website, there's like a disconnect between what you know and what is actually showing up on your site. Then you're in the right place. Are you spending money on website development and graphics and social media and PPC ads? But if you step back, what you're missing is, you seem to be missing, is a single compelling story. If that's the case, you're in the right place. If you've got this nailed, you can move on. If you're in the right place, if you feel a little bit embarrassed by your slides, if your slides look more academic and full of text, but really aren't facilitating the right conversations, then you're in the right place for this masterclass. Or worst case, sending your sales presentation as an attachment and not hearing anything back, then you're in the right place. Are you thinking to yourself, because you and your team have invested so much in creating your solution and you're almost obsessed with how awesome it is, and thinking to yourself, if they only knew exactly like the power of what this can do, it would be a no-brainer. But they don't know what it is. They're not as obsessed with your solution as you are. Then you are in the right place to get these 5 shifts, to understand these 5 shifts and how they're going to really turn things around for you. So are you selling an innovation? Let's pause here. Type in the comments. If you're selling an innovation, type in the comments. Yes, I'm selling an innovation. Type in the comments if you're selling an innovation. My point here is, innovation, I see. Yes. My point is, says who? And I don't mean to be fresh. I don't mean to, although sometimes I do mean to be fresh. Right now, I'm just, devil's advocate here. Says who? So is your statement that what you're selling in innovation, is it believable? Is your breakthrough, revolutionary, next gen thing that you're selling in innovation? And if you believe it is, and I believe that you believe that it is, but that is not going to work in your marketing. We're going to talk about why when we get to the first and second parts. So if you look at, are you hiring salespeople, and you have salespeople saying different things? And, I like to say misaligned people, which means your customers are being misaligned as well. All right. Are you looking at your competition in the race to get there, and they are far ahead of you, but they're like this old dude with features that are legacy and aren't really solving the needs of the now? You're in the right place. If you look at your website as copy, your emails are copy, search copy, all this is copy, but what is your copy actually saying? If it's saying words like this, and this took me all of about 5 minutes to copy and paste, user friendly, easy to manage. So don't take it personally about the innovation comment. This is language that, by the way, language matters. We're going to talk about it as to why it does. This is language, words, sales words, and marketing words that you'll see on 80% of B2B websites and sales material and sales presentations. And it means nothing. Innovative, nothing. Flexible and versatile. Like, who cares? Says who? Best in class. By the way, if you have to say it's best in class, guaranteed it's not best in class or world class. Take it to the next level. Revolutionary. Like, nobody believes this. But if you have some of this language on your homepage, which, by the way, is the most important presentation you have for your business, then you're in the right place for this session. So here's an example of some of those words, how it shows up on a website. Means absolutely nothing. Drives transparent, data-driven, blah, blah, blah. You know the ones. Or creating innovative workflow, doesn't mean anything. If you are thinking to yourself, how could our sales messaging actually be simple? Because what we're selling is actually very sophisticated. Every deal is complex. Every customer is unique. Every value proposition is customized or needs to be customized. Every deployment needs configuration. So if you're thinking like this is you, how could our messaging be simple? Then you're in the right place, because we're going to get to actually how it can be very simple. So you ever get this? I like what you're saying, but we didn't get that at all from looking at your homepage. We didn't get that. So if you get this from any of your customers, they show up at your Zoom meeting, they like what you're talking about, but they're not getting it from your homepage, I can promise you that's not a scalable business, because you have to basically tell everybody like mano y mano what's going on, instead of actually relying on the words on your homepage. Big problem. If you are seeing your pipeline increase and your closed deals decrease or plateau, you're in the right place. But I have good news for you. I know that was a lot of bad news, but the good news is this, that those are just symptoms. But once you really make these 5 shifts in your sales and marketing, you're going to really turn things around. Because the real problem here is that you have not made these shifts. You haven't made these 5 shifts that we're going to talk about, and I'm excited to share them with you in this webinar. So glad you're here. But once you do actually make these shifts, you're going to have complete confidence in every single dollar you're spending in marketing, because it's going to resonate with your ideal customers and bring them in. You're going to double your close rate because people are showing up predisposed to your solution, and your leadership team and sales team will be aligned in lockstep. Your Zoom meetings and presentations will be unforgettable, leaving your prospects talking for a change. Wouldn't that be nice? And you'll be tapped the joy of why you're bringing this innovation to your customers and the people that you're serving. That is awesome effects of what happens when you get there. Not to mention doubling your sales. And that's a lot of the reason why I'm sure you're in business. All right. So if you're still here with me, type in, I'm here, and let's go. Let's go. If you're excited to get to these 5 parts, say, let's go. All right. So let's go. Let's go. Just looking at comments here. So who am I? If you don't know who I am, I'm Greg Rosner, the CEO of Pitch Kitchen. We're an agency in New York. And in my career, I've sold about 50 million of enterprise software and solutions, not as Pitch Kitchen, but essentially as a salesperson selling enterprise software and solutions. And what I noticed in that job of selling is that the sales presentations and the marketing material that were chucked over the fence by marketing to me completely let me and my team down to actually selling, actually creating relationships and trusted relationships that are needed in order to actually get deals done. So I started creating on my own sales presentations that were very different, that were based on the conversations that needed to take place instead of the slides. And I was totally crushing it. And my team started using it. Then I started a side hustle designing sales presentations for companies. And they were killing it too, because it was based on a conversation-based system of 12 conversations that we're actually going to cover in this session. So I quit my job, started Pitch Kitchen, and after doing about 3,000 sales presentations, I noticed a pattern of what is working and what is not working. I'm going to share with you that in this session as well. And we also realized that those conversations, those frameworks need to be on the homepage as well, because that is your business's most important presentation on your homepage. All right. And we also noticed that salespeople do need to be trained. A lot of them get it once you give them the right conversations, but a lot of them do not. All right. So just a little bit about me as well. I'm from New York, and this was a shocking photo I took 2 years ago in New York City. I thought the whole world was coming to an end, not just because of COVID, but because my life had a total reboot as well. Went through a divorce, lost everything in terms of, the marital stuff. Then I fell in love. I got remarried, and guess what? Had a baby boy. So besides my business totally booming since really during COVID and after, I also had a booming baby in my life, which I'm so excited about. Wanted to share that with you as well. And why am I doing that? Because I believe in selling in post-COVID and in business, it is more important to be like who you are and grounded in that in order to be successful. All right. So let's get on to the 5-part sales and marketing formula, or this 5 sales shifts in marketing you need to make. And let's get right onto it. All right. So the first shift that you need to make is to lead a rebellion. Lead a rebellion. So what in the name of cockenfessers, is that even a name? Oh, that's my son crying in the background, by the way, what do I mean by leading a rebellion? So if you think about it, what are you rebelling against? So if you are selling an innovation, I promise you that you are rebelling against something. You're probably rebelling against the things that your customers are stuck around, their status quo world that requires your customers to change in order for them to use your innovation. They probably believe that they should change, but they don't really know exactly how, and you're probably selling them something that helps them. So every great CEO, every great product in the market leads with a contrarian ideology. What is your contrarian ideology? What are you rebelling against? So Seth Godin says the people who aren't enrolled in the journey are going to ignore you. And so that is true. And that is why your rebellion needs to call your people off the baseline and to the promised land that they want to go. Simon Sinek, in order to stand out, we have to know what we stand for. Absolutely. Udi from Gong, being polarizing is great for business, and here's why. So the polarization and the rebellion is about calling your people to the place that your product is going to help them get to. So it's not about calling them to buy my product, we're the best, vote for me. It's about go to the place that you need to go. And by the way, we can help you get there. So let's look at language, in words, how powerful this is for some of the brands that maybe you recognize. Nike, just do it. Trust your source. That comes from the Wall Street Journal. Make America Great Again. Whether you love or hate Donald Trump, those words got the man elected president. Words are powerful things. So these, as you can see, Find Your Beach, Corona, Partner with Patients, Medicine X. As you can see, Own Your Tomorrow, Charles Schwab, Be Definitive, Definitive Software, Patients Before Paper, ReadyWorks. All of these point to a rebellion, a challenge, a call to action, which calls their people, their ideal customers, to the place they want to go. So if you know what your rebellion is in 3 or 4 words, type it in the comments here. I'd love to see. And so I want to put a shout out to Dr. Michelle Mazur, who wrote the book, 3-Word Rebellion. This is right on how every business should have their own hashtag, which isn't just about how we are great, but it is how you can be great, which, if you think about it, is a much more magnetic message than just your message of how much innovation your product is. All right. So what is your battle cry? Type in the comments. I'd love to see what is your battle cry in 3 or 4 words. You guys need to come up with that. This is the first shift that you need to take, which is, what is your rebellion? We are taking our customers to a world where what happens as a result of your innovation, of your solution. So you need to be clear on this. This needs to be essentially the bottom of your every conversation you have, because it's about how you're serving your customers to help them get from where they are today to where they want to go. By way of your solution. If that makes sense to you, type in the comments here. Makes sense. If that makes sense, type in the comments. Makes sense. I don't see anyone here, but maybe there's something wrong with the comments, because I believe that if you believe you're selling an innovation, but you're not leading rebellion against the status quo, you're just a follower in a sideshow getting lost in the noise of your market. You really need to stick a flag in the ground and lead a rebellion. So Patricia with BST, new product, new board, massive goals, could not differentiate, failing to book new conversations, missing sales targets, frustrated with performance. Afterwards, leading this rebellion of demonstrate cost-effective delivery, confident about the story, winning bigger deals, recruiting salespeople with purpose, and attracting new customers. So really great work here. And the messaging here, you can see it's not about the product, what the product does. The product is. It's about what the product does. And that is a big distinction that points to this rebellion. This is really cool from Trish, actually. After just launching on LinkedIn, that message got a meeting right away with a COO of an ABA org, which is awesome. So don't ever tell me that words don't matter. Words actually matter a lot for your business. It's not the best product that wins. It's the clearest story as told with the words you're using. So if that makes sense, type in "makes sense" in the comments so I know that it makes sense to you, and we will proceed. So we'll get to number 2. All right. Makes sense. All right. So number 2, start with the problem. So what is your homepage obsessed with? So if you were to go to your homepage right now or your sales presentation and ask yourself, what is your presentation for your business obsessed with? Most companies would say it's obsessed with our solution. Okay, but there's a problem with putting your solution first instead of the problem that you're serving for, helping with, because people don't even, number one, know that they need your solution, so they don't understand what it is. But it's also just not as attractive and magnetic, if you will. It doesn't really resonate as much as problems, because really your customers don't really care about you or your product or your company. I mean, it's not a knock. I'm not trying to be fresh, although sometimes I am trying to be fresh. What do your customers really care about? What do they care about? Type that in the comments if you know what your customers really care about. So let's do some sales and marketing myth busting, because so much of selling and marketing is done wrong. It actually makes it pretty easy to do it right. So why not start with your solution? Because nobody cares about why or what you do. They care about their goals and their problems. You got to make it clear that you understand that, and then your solution becomes attractive. Number 2, demoing your solution doesn't convince anyone of anything. And if you don't believe me, just look at the stats out there from Gartner or from Gong.io. I think the stats are showing that 8 out of 10 demos result in no sales. So that doesn't work. People don't believe you. That's truth. People, if you just say your product is revolutionary, they're not going to believe that it is, or an innovation. So you can't do that. Like here, the next generation API platform. Says who? Says who? Who says that? And do I believe it? Do you believe that? Okay, good luck, Rapid API. Take your $8 million you got in funding, and I really hope you're around in 3 years. Anyway, I don't mean to be fresh, although sometimes I do get fresh. I get frustrated when I see money wasted on marketing and sales not happening because of bad marketing. Because if you can describe the problem, their problem, better than they can describe it themselves, what does that do? That allows them, your customers, your ideal customers, to realize that you really understand their world, and they will automatically believe that you have the best solution if you can do that well. You need to do that on your homepage. I would say right underneath the aspiration section. And we're going to talk about that later. You want to be able to get a that's right in the minds of your customers. Chris Voss speaks about this all the time in his book, Never Split the Difference, ex-FBI hostage negotiator. This is a very important tool in communicating with customers and prospects, that they feel you understand them. So this is a before. This is leading with solution. Okay, the after is leading with the problem. And the problem is that doctors and nurses are putting paper before patients, and that's a problem. And this is a solution that solves that. So you see how clear it can be. It can be the clarity around turning your paper checklist into smart forms is that transformation story that this product enables. So you'll see here, problem, it works better. But this is before a sales presentation about how great the product is. The after is so much better because it is based on the outcomes and the results that the platform creates. And the focus on the outcomes and results gets you much better results in your messaging sales presentation when you're meeting with customers. Huge difference. So Ready works just before. Prospects were totally confused, didn't buy, no cohesive story tying things together. Revenue was critical, and he was not making it. After narrative got much better discovery, people were showing up predisposed to understand what they needed. Deal sizes were tripling, and faster sales, faster deals. Really awesome. So starting with the problem is essential instead of starting with your solution. So this is a shift in how you'd market and how you'd sell. If that makes sense to you, we'll unlock the use of the secret weapon. But if that makes sense to you, type in the comments, makes sense. I know you guys are here watching. Maybe you're driving or riding a bike right now. But if you're here watching, type in the comments, makes sense. So I know that we could continue. All right, all right. Number 3, the third shift you need to make is to use the secret weapon. So what is the secret weapon? The secret weapon is what we call the magnetic messaging framework. And what does that mean, and why would you need a magnetic messaging framework? Because this kind of messaging, screaming louder how innovative, how revolutionary, how next generation your product is, doesn't work. Messaging here doesn't work, no matter how loud it gets. Yes, once in a while you can get a couple deals that way, but it's not scalable. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work because the world has changed. There's so much marketing noise. So it doesn't work because it doesn't answer these questions. Why should they change from what they're doing today? Why should they change now from what they're doing today? And why should they change now with you, with your solution, your innovation? These questions are not answered with traditional solution marketing. So how do you do that? You do that with what we call a magnetic messaging framework. And it composes of elements like a 3-word revolution hashtag, which we spoke about, a 2-page story framework, which really steps through the messaging you need for all your emails, all your events, your PPC ads, your homepage, your website. Anytime you're producing any marketing collateral content, you need a framework for what's your customer, who is your customer, what do they want, where do they want to go, what's their problem, how has the world changed for them, what's the plan to get them from where they are to where they want to go, what's the stakes for them, what happens if nothing happens. All that needs to be very super clear in words so that you can spin up very quickly all the marketing messaging emails that you need to do. There's also an element called the game over narrative. And if you are selling an innovation, that also means that, I'm sorry about the landscaper outside, it also means that there's probably an old way to do things, and that game is over. The way to play that game is no longer working, and your solution, your innovation is conferring advantage to those people, those businesses that want to play it in a new way. So it really helps you create this category of one. So these elements combined is what creates the messaging. But then how does that messaging show up on your homepage? Is your homepage obsessed with your solution, or is it a home run for your customers, showing them how they're going to get from where they are to where they want to go? And is your sales presentation just a set of slides promoting your wares, or is it a choose your own adventure discovery guide, collaboration guide that uses all 12 of those conversations that I mentioned before are critical to moving a deal forward? The three of these elements combined is the magnetic messaging framework, and it is the secret weapon. Here's a couple examples of a game over narrative. This is from Gong. In fact, today, I think, or sometime they had the Hello Reality event. And so this is the game over narrative that they're using to big success in marketing. The old way of doing solution marketing, if you had a presentation, was a 20+ slide deck, page numbers, white backgrounds, one slide with 8 bullets, and you probably have some slides like this. But the new way is using more of a collaboration guide where there's very little text, no more than like 12 words on a slide, and each slide is essentially a bullet point or a conversation. That's the new way. This is an example of a slide, by the way, that is a slide that is the conversation around the problem. And it sets the stage for salespeople to have a conversation with their prospect instead of a presentation around how do they really know about the cost of retention or the performance or clinical outcomes. How do they really know that these things? And when you get your customer talking about the problem, it sets the stage for a couple things to happen. One, for you to demonstrate your knowledge and expertise and position yourself as a trusted advisor, but also to get them to be eager and curious of how you're going to help them solve that problem. All that happens with a single slide. And again, it's a slide that doesn't show logos. It's a slide that talks about the problem. So you need to turn your presentation into a collaboration, and that is all part of this. So in terms of what slides you need to create, these are the 12 conversations that I have discovered from literally doing 3,000 sales presentations. You'll need to cover these bases, not necessarily in one sales meeting, but by the time your process is done, if you realize you have not had an outcomes conversation, or you have not had a plan conversation, or have not set expectations of what they can expect to happen after the change happens, then you will likely not win the deal. So you should look at your slides as what conversations need to happen and design that. That's my advice. And that's what needs to be in your magnetic messaging framework. The old way of solution marketing is you position your solution as the innovative hero, but the new way is it's really the innovation that's going to help you get there. So the focus is on you being not the hero of the story, but the helper of the hero. I hope that makes sense. Type in the comments if it does. Yeah, so your marketing uses expensive agencies, old way, new way, hero's journey using visuals and verbs. Gosh, that landscaper is just so loud. I'm going to just close the window on that. Okay, sorry for that about that. Your homepage, the old way was spending money with a pretty and expensive marketing agency. And it was essentially a brochure of how great your product is. The new way, the magnetic messaging framework, is a functional plan about them, about how they're going to get from where they are to where they need to go. All right. Your messaging needs to essentially be saying how we make you better instead of why we're the best, because the how we make you better is much more attractive in your essential story. So if you go to your homepage, what is your call to action? Is it to learn more, get started about how awesome thing, or is it about that functional plan to help your customers get to where they want to go? Like get something, get expert recommendations to help you get there, or get your impact assessment, or get something that allows them to to change, to be better, to evolve. So these are the 10 elements of the most highly converting homepages. I'm gonna go through them real fast, and you can screenshot this if you want. But you need to have a lot of elements on your homepage, and these are tied to the 12 conversations. You need to speak to what they want, what their affliction is, what your credibility is, what your solution is, how your solution works, what are the stakes if they do not change, what's your social proof, who's saying good things about you, what's their plan to get from where they are to where they need to go, the outcomes that they're trying to get. If they're not ready to meet and take that primary call to action, then what can they download in exchange for giving you their email? And call to action would be a bot or scheduler. The new 2022 websites today forms are going away, and they're being replaced by single click bookings, where actually, embedded on the homepage is the time you book and you go. And maybe there's a questionnaire that follows, but the booking happens with one click on the homepage instead of a form, and you go back and forth by email. That's just very old. Anyway, these are really critical to have on your homepage. And I'm not going to spend time here to talk about before and after, but suffice it to say, you need to really lock down these essential elements on your homepage so that people have the experience of, in a sense, having the essential conversations with you, with your brand, with your team right there on your homepage. All right, so if that makes sense, type in the comments "makes sense" as we wrap up this last piece of the magnetic messaging framework, what that is. And as I talk about some bad news, Michael, Aman, and others that are here, Matthew, hello. Bad news. Wow, that was loud. Bad news is stuff is going to fall off my desk. No, bad news is some of you here aren't going to make it. And I mean that not just like health-wise. You're going to be fine, hopefully, physically, if COVID doesn't get us. But, I think 72% of SaaS companies, I can't talk right now, 72% of SaaS companies fail by year 3. And so that's just like a sad state of affairs. And that's bad news. So it should become very clear to you that what's super important is to get this right. So real quick, CEO Jeff Aronson, founder of EquipX, before confusing marketing content, pipeline super thin, losing deals to no decision, and very frustrated with that. After unbelievable 3x revenue, 6x pipeline in 4 months, confidence in marketing spend, partners sell easily. So grateful that the business vision is materializing. So this is super important stuff. Speaking to the aspiration there and the transformation right underneath. Turn your underutilized equipment into an optimized health system was what their customers want. So really good and important. Versus like here, this is a website, AI human interaction. Like, what are they selling here? Totally confusing. Brains and computer chips, doesn't make any sense. Innovation and excellence, like blah, blah, blah. Boring. Like, doesn't do anything. Afterwards, check this out. Afterwards, using the magnetic messaging framework, they came up with give doctors superpowers. Wow. Well, how is that? Bring emotional artificial intelligence to patient encounters. Turn virtual patient checkups into deeply insightful interactions. Wow. So like you would never get from this website, like unbelievable product that is like breakthrough. You would never get that from this website, from this presentation. Never in a million years, lost. But you might get that from this. So as you can see, words really matter. If that makes sense about the magnetic messaging framework, and I know I spent a lot of time on that, we're going to wrap up here in about 10 minutes. But if that makes sense, type in the comments, makes sense. All right. Now we're getting to number 4. Number 4, sell the change. what do I mean by sell the change? How do you get your customer to own your solution? So if you think about what you're really selling, you are selling the ability for people, your customers who you're serving, to get from their current way of doing things, how they're doing things, or what they're doing, to a future place where they can be doing things better, faster, cheaper. I don't mean to like break it down, but that is essentially what you are selling. You're essentially selling your solution is along the road to get them to where they want to be. So if you really think about it, what are you really selling? You're really selling change. You're selling movement. So how do you sell change to people? How do you do that? And you do that by involving yourself deeply in your customer story of change. When I say yourself here, involving your brand messaging, your homepage, your sales presentation, everything there needs to involve deeply in your customer story of getting from where they are to where they want to go, and what happens if they don't make it, or they take the wrong route, or they take the wrong path. Now, it's interesting. I put a poll up on LinkedIn, or 9 votes. Every one of the people voting here said, "What's the tipping point moment when your prospective customer decides they trust your solution and want to buy?" Is when they feel heard and understood, versus seeing others' results, case studies, or seeing a cheap cost. So powerful. So, how do you get them to feel heard and understood? Well, you do that through what I call collaboration. And it's a difference between losing deals and closing deals is that collaboration, where your salespeople have slides that really position you as that trusted advisor in the conversations that need to happen to get them comfortable in making the change. You're really selling a movement. You're selling the change from getting them from where they are to where they want to go. And if they're not comfortable with that change for whatever reason, then you can't sell. If they don't see a problem with them staying with doing what they're doing, how they're doing it, where they're doing it, then you have no sale. Nothing is going to happen. So it's conversations about that change, which is part of that essential to the collaboration. If that makes sense, type in comments "make sense," and we will lastly talk about the last piece here: invest in expert help. All right, makes sense. Beautiful, beautiful. To these CEOs, it makes sense. It made sense to them, and they are winning with their messaging and crushing it in B2B right now, which is wonderful. I'm so glad for them that they have realized that when they're so inside their own solution, and when you're so inside your own systems and solution, investing in that, it's really hard to see what customers need to understand about their solution. If you're so obsessed, if you will, about your solution and how making it great, it's often impossible to step outside yourself and look inside or look on the outside to what customers need to understand about your thing. And so having an outsider engage with you and your team in this development process is actually the process of alignment of triangulating the truth that you hear from the people that you trust to sell and to build your product, getting folks that you rely on involved in the story development process is the process of alignment. Because once you're done, everyone's looking at the 3 words or the homepage, and they're like, that really speaks to our customers. This is something I'm proud of. Everyone's aligned and moving forward in the same direction. And that's what's needed. So I like to say, don't hire marketers, because they're just going to market the hell out of your product and put lipstick and make things look pretty, but it's not going to work. You need to hire what I call sales enablers that focus on taking a sales approach to your marketing. Big difference. So that's the last piece here. This is what you'll need to win. You'll need to lead a rebellion. You'll need to start with the problem, not the solution. You'll need to use the secret weapon, magnetic messaging framework. You'll need to sell the change and the movement that it takes for your customers to be successful. You need to invest in expert help to help you see things from the outside and from a sales perspective. So that's what I promised to you guys. I hope that you got some value from that. I promised how to simplify your sales message, without losing what makes your solution unique. I promise to facilitate unforgettable sales presentations by making it a choose your own adventure conversational guide on the change that's needed, how to stand out in a noisy market, even if you have fierce competition, or even if people don't understand where your solution fits in because you're focusing on the problem, how to get your prospects to own your proposal, even if you don't have a 350K per year CMO, by focusing the messaging and the sales presentation on the change that's needed, and how to attract ideal customers without wasting a ton of money on marketing, because you're using language and a website design and a presentation design where it's designed to have conversations, the right conversation, instead of designed to promote the hell out of your product. So it becomes attraction. All right. So now you have a choice. Now you have a choice. And I would like to say here that you could remain where you are, having read all the books, been to Greg Rosner's webinar, Pitch Kitchen, whatever. But you know, your current website, your current sales presentation, your current messaging is not really clear, and you can remain there. But you know, what would it do for your business if you can move to clarity? And or what will you be okay if in 6 months or in 1 year from now, absolutely nothing changes in your business? Would you be okay with that? And if you are okay, well, good luck. But if you're not okay, this is what I have for you. You have a choice. So this is what I have for you. I have set aside next 72 hours, about 5 30-minute Zoom calls for the folks watching this. And it's absolutely free. And in those Zoom calls, you could click on this link or just go to getsalesenabled.youcanbook.me. And you can book a time with me, and we'll spend time talking about discovering what's wrong with your marketing, including the elements we talked about. We can discuss what you need to do about it and get you on a plan, a game plan of getting that done. So I've only got five of these slots for you, so they're going to go fast. But listen, the catch is this is absolutely free, but there is a catch. And the catch is I'm not available for everybody, and it's not for everyone. This is for CEOs or founders or hands-on investors of companies that are already between 5 million and 100 million, but they're stuck with their marketing, and they've realized that it's not helping them cut through the noise, and they're able to invest time and money in clarifying their message in their sales enablement. That is for you. These bullet points here, if this is for you, then please book. If this is not you, then please do not book the time with me. Hope you can appreciate it, because the stakes are high. The stakes are high for you. If you don't get this right, you can certainly, as we talked about, waste money on marketing, continue to repel ideal customers. They won't know what you're selling. Opportunities in your pipeline will continue to languish with your team being misaligned. And so a lot is on the line. I am driven to really help CEOs like Jordan with these things.
Like everyone on our team, has
so this is a recording.
Design experience, has website experience. Like we could have done something ourselves, but our resources were spread so thin. So that was the first thing, is that I think Pitch Kitchen really leapfrogged us to get us where we needed to be. Now we've got better new logo, better new website, better new, marketing materials. So from a marketing perspective, that was like the biggest thing. So we are now.
So that was great, from Jordan. I just wanted to share that with you. And but yeah, so I really appreciate you showing up to this this masterclass. And if you want to take advantage of this booking offer here, there's the link, getsalesenabled.youcanbook.me. It'll take you to a booking form. You book your time, and then it'll take you to a quick questionnaire. So I can ask some basic questions and do my homework prior to that, so I can come with my guns blazing. If this is interesting to you, please take advantage of this free call. For others here that have got some value from this session, I'm grateful that you did. This is my mission in life, is to do this, because my experience in sales and selling, combined with my natural talents and education at the Cooper Union School of New York about design, has fused to essentially create me and my small team to be probably the best, or if not one of the best teams in the world to nail this for small, medium-sized businesses. So I'm driven to do this and to support you if you are a CEO of this company, of your innovation. So with that, I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you very much for joining. Keep on rocking in the free world. And I really hope that you rock in the free world. Be well. Cheers.